If you're struggling with dimensional analysis or conversions or the factor label method, hopefully this video is going to give you a new idea on how you can solve it. Let's take an example problem. A bicycle is traveling at 14 miles per hour. How many feet will it cover in 50 seconds? Round your answer to the nearest tenth of a foot. Right away you can see that I've got my important information here. The bike is currently traveling at 14 miles per hour, and they are asking how many feet will it cover in 50 seconds. Okay, well, first of all, I realize that I'm in miles and hours, and I need to get to feet and seconds. So here comes in my dimensional analysis. First of all, you're going to need some highlighters or some colored pens that you're going to use to help you keep everything straight. So I want you to first draw a long line. I remember from my problem that the bike is traveling at 14 miles per hour. I'm going to start by drawing this line, and I've got all of these upright lines just separating it. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with those in just a minute. I'm going to start on the left-hand side and put what I currently have. So that I know that the bike is traveling 14 miles, and it's going to be per hour. By the way, this we can think of as per. So per, and I'm actually going to change my colors, and I'm going to make this in red. So per hour. Now, really when I say per hour, I'm really talking about per 1 hour. So I'm going to write that just so I know. Now what I want you to think about is go back for a moment and recall that if I have anything divided by itself, it always equals 1. You're exactly right. So 5 divided by 5 equals 1. Sometimes people refer to this as canceling, by the way. I'm not going to call it canceling because mathematically, I don't know if that's correct. Canceling could mean 0, could be 1. That's a whole nother topic. Okay, so 5 divided by 5 equals 1. It divides out to be 1, right? Okay, so I'm going to think about doing that with my labels. So in other words, I need to get rid of miles because the question is asking me for feet. So if I'm thinking about getting rid of miles, that means I'm going to need to divide it out to be 1. In order to be able to divide it out, I need to put miles down here. Notice that I'm using the same colors here, okay? So I've got miles, and I've got miles here. And now I need to think about, okay, I can convert miles into feet, right? And so I happen to know that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. I'm going to change my colors and write my feet in a totally different color. And I'm going to say 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Now I know that I need to end up with feet, so I'm going to leave feet alone for a moment. But I also know I need to get to seconds, and currently I'm in hours. That's not going to work. So again, same idea here. If I can put the hours in the numerator, or this top part here, hour divided by hour is going to be 1, right? But here's the problem. I don't know how many seconds are in an hour, but I do know how many minutes are in an hour. So I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to start by putting hour up here. And I know that in 1 hour, and notice that I have hour, and that they are on the diagonal. In 1 hour, I know that there are 60 minutes. So 60 minutes in 1 hour. Notice that this is a conversion. This is a conversion. 5,280 feet in 1 mile. 1 hour is 60 minutes. Okay. Again, though, that's great. Now we got rid of our hours, but now they're still asking for seconds. So I need to now get rid of this minutes. Again, I'm knowing I need to put it on the diagonal. So I'm going to put minutes right here. And I know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So I'm going to write 1 minute and then get a different colored pen. And I've got 60 seconds. Notice that I've got my minutes and my minutes that are now going to divide out and be 1. My hours and hours divide out and be 1. My miles and miles divide out and be 1. What am I left with? I'm left with feet, and I'm left with seconds. That's exactly what the problem is asking. Yay! Okay, the next step is I need to multiply all the numbers on top. By the way, this is the numerator. These are really all fractions. The factor method just puts a little multiplication in between each one. Fun fact, okay? But if that freaks you out, fractions are not your friend, no worries. Multiply the top row and we're going to get an answer. Then we're going to multiply the bottom row and get an answer. When you do your math, you should now have 73,920 for the top numbers. Again, that's 14 times 5,280 times 1, divided by 3,600. And again, I get that from 60 times 60. When I divide this out, I get 20.5333, and it keeps on going forever. Before you round, stop. Don't round in this step. We want to wait to round it to the very end to minimize the little bit of error that we're going to get when we round. So we're going to keep that 20.533333 on your calculator. And now we need to revisit the question, because if you enter in this 20.5333, by the way, this is going to be feet per second. So that bike is traveling 20.5 feet every second. Okay, he's cruising, by the way. I love it. Is that what the question asks us, though? Because when you reread the question says, how many feet will the bicycle travel in 50 seconds? So I know that my bike is traveling at 20.53 repeating feet per second. But think about, what does that really mean? How am I going to figure out how far he travels in 50 seconds? Well, when I say per second, am I talking about per 1 second, 10 seconds? 1 second, right? So this is going to be for just 1 second. I need 50 of these, so I could write them all, 2, 3, 4, and keep writing these and add them all, right? But a quicker way is just to multiply. So if I take 20.53 repeating on your calculator and multiply that times 50, you should get 1,026.66666 forever feet in 50 seconds. Now the question asks us to round to the nearest tenth. So now I need to round this number to the nearest tenth. Remember that when I round to the nearest tenth, I'm looking at the tenth and I'm looking at this number right next door and trying to figure out, is 0.66, is that closer to 0.60 or 0.70? I know that it's closer to 0.70. So my final answer should be 1,026.7 feet in 50 seconds. This is a tricky problem, and it definitely has several different layers. Don't give up. Persist in problem solving. You can do this. The number one mistake I see students make is they don't make sure they've got those labels diagonal from each other. And so it starts messing up with all their numbers and they get really crazy answers. The other common mistake I see is that students start to try and just logically think through it of like, okay, am I going from smaller to bigger? Sometimes for me, that's not intuitive and that doesn't really help me any. So get your highlighters, get some colored pens, do your circling of your labels and see if that helps. Hopefully you now have a better idea of how to do dimensional analysis.